Hello everyone, so welcome to Utah Motorsport Park. Here to test the brand new Bridgestone R11 tyre. Now the R11 tyre is a replacement for the R10. It's their mass-produced DOT race tyre, so designed for super stock racing, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to go inside just in a minute and we're going to go and speak to Andrew, who's one of the lead product developers on this tyre, and he's going to give you guys the good word. Ah, here we go. Team Bridgestone. Hey boys. Okay, so let's get into it.
All right. I'm going to talk about the tires a little bit hands-on, but if you want to reference the
We're also we've got the slide here for you guys as well, so
make
move over here.
got visuals up here a little bit. Bridgestone, obviously racing focused. It's in the DNA. We talk about it a lot. We're actually, it's a good opportunity to point across or point out the full lineup. So everything from scooter, off-road, adventure, custom touring, sports. So this is where R11 sits in our lineup. So street sport,
Yep.
R11.
So this is your DOT race tyre?
Yeah. So this is our new grooved racing tire, DOT racing tire. I'll go over a couple of goals that we had in some of the technologies. One of the main goals was increasing performance in corner entry.
Right.
Which is very important. You know, that sets the tone. It's like you get up, you have a bad morning, you might be pissed off that day. You start that turn real nice, you're going to maintain that confidence, shoot right through it, and keep doing that all day. So besides that, consistency in the life of the tire, that was another goal.
Right.
We can go over some of the technologies we used to reach those goals and kind of go back and forth on some other details and features.
All right. So let's delve into some of the tech.
So one of the things we do at Bridgestone, we use a technology called Ultimate Eye, which we developed for actually MotoGP and Formula One development. And it allows us to look at the dynamic contact patch of the tire under load, lean angles. We can simulate, or we can actually perform speeds up to 260 miles per hour, 70-degree lean angles. So we can see exactly what's going on with the tire. And we use that technology to start developing road tires, and this is the first racing tire that we've done, or racing DOT tire that we've done with this technology. So one of the things we can do is these groove angles are not just pretty, but they're actually optimized to be perpendicular to the forces that you're going to see on the tire. So you got a cornering vector, you've got an acceleration and braking vectors. So we optimize these groove angles so that your forces are perpendicular. It gives you really good rigidity and good cornering performance and good drive out of the corners.
Okay. So talk us through this graph up here.
Yeah.
So how does this work?
Basically, this is it's a real high-level graph, but see these yellow lines are like your vectors, right? So you've got a combination of acceleration and cornering forces depending on the lean angle that you're at, and the groove is designed to be perpendicular to those forces.
Right.
That's really what's going on here with these groove angles.
Okay. So this is basically the research parts, and these are the outcomes that if you guys want to pause it, you can actually read it faster than what I can.
Yeah, so a lot of R&D goes in on the front end so that you guys can go fast on the back.
Right.
The other thing that we got going on here is we've got some different construction, right? So monospiral belt is something that Bridgestone has had in our tires for a long time. Now what we've introduced is variable monospiral belt.
Right.
So maybe if you want to flip over to this graphic, I can show you easier. So in the center of the tire, you've got what you're probably familiar with seeing as a consistent monospiral belt that's pretty densely packed in the center for high-speed stability.
Yep.
When you get out onto the shoulders and you're getting into higher lean angles, we've actually we can vary the spacing as needed to improve the contact patch, and that's really what tire performance is about, is contact patch. So on these graphics, you can see we've got, like on the old R10, we got this island in the middle of low contact pressure.
So that's where the tire's kind of bang.
Yeah, it's kind of concave like this. So you've got high pressure here and here, but you've got a little bit low pressure here. So with this variable monospiral belt, we're able to get a better contact pressure, so you can more evenly distribute that contact pressure. Right. That gives you just that little bit more contact with the road, with the track, and gives you just a little bit more grip, a little bit more performance out of the tire. And that's really what tire design is about, is optimizing that small contact patch that we have to work with.
Right, yeah, because it's really only, size of a credit card effectively that you're playing
pretty
with.
much. Yeah. You think the size of your fist right there, that's about what you got to work with on the front and the rear.
Right.
And another thing to note on this, so this is specifically on the front construction, which, so I don't know if the clicker's still on, but just one to the right. So switching to the construction on the rear, same setup, same technologies that Keith was just talking about, but on the rear specifically, there's an added GP belt that we call it on top of that variable monospiral. And the point of that is just to transfer more driving force to the rear wheel.
So is that just effectively makes it more stable?
Yeah. I mean, the variable monospiral belt, that the methodology behind that's still going on, but that GP belt just increases the rigidity a little bit more. Would you say?
Yeah, you got a lot of different forces going on. You got acceleration forces through the rear wheel that you don't have in the front, so the construction is going to be a little bit different. So these two technologies, the GP belt and the VMSB, work together to give you a similar effect. See where you got this on the old tire, you got this low pressure area in the center. We're flattening out the contact patch, distributing the load. So by distributing the load, you get rid of these high pressure areas, you get rid of the low pressure areas, you get more grip and you get more life.
Right. So that was always the big trade-off between the two. It was either you'd have much higher grip and lower life, or vice versa.
Traditionally, you would have to, because if the only thing you're working with is compound, you have to slide along that trade-off scale.
Yeah.
But when you can get more out of the contact patch, then you get more of everything.
Right. So here we got the famous spider graph.
You're right.
All the tire guys love this thing.
These comparisons are being made to the R11's predecessor, which was R10. Still a great tire, but always got to push the boundaries. So like I was saying in the beginning, corner entry, that was a big focus for us. Raising the bar across the board, but corner entry, that's what we focused on. That's what we achieved. And like I said, also the life of the tire, consistency in the life of the tire.
Right.
But yeah, those comparisons on the R10 predecessor.
Okay. So let's have a look at, before we do that, let's have a look here. So this is also the first tire that you guys have had that's had a complete range across the board, correct?
First
DOT race tire, yeah.
And I mean, it's just a lot easier conversation when you don't have to have that caveat of what are you riding, what sizes you're doing. Just say, hey, R11 full size lineup, and go right into that. So you see the 110, the 140, and also the 200 here. That's we've been expanding a lot of size lineups through the size offered through our lineup. But like Roy was saying, first race tire.
Yeah, first race DOT.
Right.
We used Ultimate IM and we have a complete lineup.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. So the Ultimate Eye technology. So talk us through a little bit how that works. Because I mean, everyone's kind of heard of it now, but maybe people aren't quite as familiar about it.
Yeah. So basically,
this is the vision. This is
the
result of it.
This is the data that comes from Ultimate Eye, and the way it works is basically kind of like a big dyno. So you're running the tire, and we've got load cells in the actual drum surface, and then we can introduce different lean angles. We can actually program in the contours and a map of racetracks and put the tire through a race situation, so we can understand what's going on. The real key here is that we're able to see exactly what's going on with the footprint, exactly what's going on with the tire, a lot more than we were able to in the past, which allows us to make these subtle tweaks that just inch out performance out of that contact patch.
Right.
So it was developed for Formula One, MotoGP, and now we're bringing that technology into the road and the DOT.
Because this is effectively the first sport product that you guys have had since you left MotoGP, isn't it? Because the R10 was, you guys were still a MotoGP tire at that point.
Yeah, it's the first race tire.
Yeah.
Well, we had the B02 that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just the...
Yeah. But in terms of like a street race tire, DOT approved race tire, yeah. Cool.
So a big thing too is the squirm. So
Right.
like with Ultimate Eye, we were able to measure how much the tire is squirming, or slip is the correct term. But motorcycle world, squirm is easier to understand. So a tire squirming, it's in contact with the road, but the tire is moving around the contact patch. So there's always going to be a little kind of friction and wear there.
Yep.
So when you can dial in some of the squirm, you're actually getting the tire to be more planted. And through being more planted, it's not moving as much. So you're getting better feedback through the tire. It's gripping better, but now it's also wearing better because you've eliminated some of that movement. So that's been a big deal.
So does that then come in with the grooves here, like how the way that works when they're obviously on the side of the tire and these grooves are effectively closing up?
The grooving thing will be different because the pattern, every tire, the pattern is different. But overall, where the Ultimate helps is because it's cutting down on squirm.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's wearing better. Because in the past, like we talked about earlier, like you could get traction or longevity. I mean, that was, you always had to kind of sacrifice.
Yeah.
But through Ultimate Eye technology, as Keith explained, like we're now able to get the best of both worlds, you know?
Yeah.
So that's helped us get a lot better grip and a lot better mileage.
Okay.
So that's good.
Cool.
So, and in track tire talk, you mean it lasts longer. So.
Just talk us through the tread design a little bit as well, just before I forget. We go through some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And why they are the way they are.
So front and rear, the grooves, like I was talking about earlier with the groove angles. So this groove angle is set specifically to oppose the forces that you're getting on the tire, right?
Yeah.
So, and this kind of goes back to what Rory was saying about squirm. We're trying to optimize the block rigidity and optimize the grip. So your forces, you got vectors from cornering forces and acceleration forces, and they're going to come at a different angle depending on what your lean angle is. So that's why the groove has this specific arc. It's not just randomly placed to make it a DOT race tire. The groove is angled so that it's optimized for the forces as they change across the tire.
Let's go check it out. Bridgestone R11, successor to the R10. 2 days on that tyre on everything from an R3 to an R6 to an R1 to an R1M. Brilliant tyres. I mean, I can honestly say that with pure confidence, like a sensational tyre, and the front tyre especially is just magnificent. It's a brilliant tyre. It has a slightly different feel to, like say a Pirelli, for example. Like a Pirelli has like a bit more of a malleable kind of feel. This thing it takes a little bit to trust this tyre initially, but once that initial wear-in point has been passed, it's just got grip for days, man. Like today we swapped. I mean, obviously it was all track riding. Today we swapped at lunch. We put a new front and a new rear on, but really you didn't need to put a new front on. The fronts were totally fine. You're talking getting thrashed around on 160, 170 odd horsepower R1s and R1Ms and things like that, and they handled the pressure really well. I think because the suspension, I mean, we're running standard suspension for the most part, well, for everything actually, it wasn't quite optimized. Probably gave the tire a bit too hard a time than what it really should have been. So it was starting to sort of show the wear, I guess, towards the end of the day. But look, a spectacular tire. I mean, you know, here she is. Ooh. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Good looking tire too, actually, I must say. But yeah, look, a really good tyre. It's a DOT race tyre, so it better be bloody good. These things are going to be running super stock racing around the world and that kind of stuff. You're not going to run that on the street. You want to run warmers with these tyres as well. This is not. I mean, you could if you wanted to. You could run on the street, but you're not going to get the max performance out of it as well. But yeah, look, initial turn-in feel on the front is just awesome. It's so good. Like we had the R6, especially the R6. I spent more time on the R6 because there was a few more of the bikes, so I did a lot more riding on the R6. But I never had one single moment on the front, not one. And you trail brake so deep into the thing, just pull it in and it just does it. It's a really, really wonderful tire. Rear tire has tons of grip, heaps and heaps of grip. I'm really sort of impressed by these things. They're really, really spectacular tire, really well done from Bridgestone. A competitor, an easy competitor to the best Pirellis, the best Michelins, the best Dunlops. Like, these are right up there. They're made in Japan. This is the fruits of MotoGP. These are really, really good tires.